I started farming avocados back in 1979, way up there in the hills, Toro Canyon. And back then, the regimen was you'd plant about 120 trees, 100 to 120 trees on an acre, and they'd be spaced 16 by 20 or 20 by 20. And here I moved down to this mobile home park, and a guy started farming avocados here. And he was a very experienced nurseryman, so he really knew his business. But the new way of doing it is planting them much closer together. It looks like they're maybe 10 feet apart between the trees, and between the rows, it might be, I haven't measured, but it's maybe 15, 16 feet between the rows. And they also planted it up on a mound, or actually an elevated row for, I guess, root rot prevention, keep the roots a little drier. Uh, so anyway, so I've been skeptical about it, wondering if it really paid off. But now he did this in 2014, so they're 9 years old, and it's quite a bit of work to maintain. You can see, I mean, the very vigorous growth here, and so you constantly have to top them. And I'd say right now they're in ideal condition. He's got space between them. That's, he's got maximum foliage, maximum fruit bearing foliage in a given space. That would be the ultimate goal. And I think he's achieving that here. Um, he had it picked. I remember there were 4 guys picking here. I think it was back in May, and they were still using long extension ladders. That surprised me. But they'd lean them up against the trees, and they're young bucks, young strong men. They'd go up there and just start picking them. I would use a picking pole. I mean, that's really, for me, it's a lot easier to pick when you're standing on the ground. But I guess these guys can just scale up the tree on a rickety ladder and just, maybe pick 10 or 12 trees from one location faster than you could with a picking pole. So they were getting it done. And it seems to me the supervisor said they got 22 bins. That's 22,000 pounds, 4 men. That's 5 bins per man. And to me, that's incredible. I mean, I used to see maybe 1 bin a day or 2 maximum. So, so you're really getting it done here. And right now it's in very good shape. A lot of fruit bearing foliage, not too high up. You have to keep working at it, and you have to, clean out, keep them from crowding. What you don't want is a lot of interior growth that isn't getting much sunlight and a big waste. And you definitely don't want them to get much higher than that, because then it does get pretty hard to pick. So anyway, I'm impressed after all this time. You're going to have, since you're planting much more densely, maybe 3 times, maybe even 4 times, 300 or 400 trees per acre, you're going to have 300 or 400, or I mean 3 or 4 times the expense that I had planting 100, 120 trees per acre. So, but the idea is that maybe after, when you start producing fruit, which would be 4 or 5 years down the road, that you would more than make up for your initial outlay. So very impressive. This is my tree here. One year, a couple of years ago, I got about 800 pounds off this one tree. It was just unbelievable. Then I had kind of a year where I didn't get much. And then this year I did maybe I had 400 or 500 pounds. And I had an off bloom that was kind of disappointing. I thought the off bloom would size up, And sometimes it will. But here's one here. This may be okay. This one may be okay, but some of them, and of course there's a real mature fruit right there. But some of them just got, you can see them up there, not much bigger than a golf ball, and that was it. And they wouldn't even ripen very well. I mean, you could probably wait long enough, and I did try eating one or two, but it was kind of a disappointment, that off bloom. I thought they were all going to size up, and sometimes an off bloom will, but in this case, it just didn't happen. Okay, hope that's helpful. Thank you.